What's up, guys? So big news for you. The reason it's been a couple weeks since I put out a longer video is I moved all the way from Atlanta, drove out to Las Vegas, packed up everything I owned, the wife, 2 dogs, everything else, drove across the country, took about 3 days, but we're here, we're all settled in, and we're going to talk about UFC 294, so let's get into it. UFC 294, definitely kind of a depressing card for me. So we'll get into it. The opener of the main card, Said Nurmagomedov, wins with a first round submission over Muin Gafurov. I butchered that name. I'm sorry. But not one of Khabib's relatives, but definitely a big problem in the bantamweight division. Did his thing. Said's also a pretty good striker as well, but definitely has that Dagestani style of wrestling and kind of got the submission. Pretty straightforward there. Then the next bout, Ikram Aliskerov. I believe he's fought Khamzat in the past, but definitely a guy to watch in the middleweight division. KO'd Warlley Alves 2 minutes 7 seconds of the first round. Warlley Alves is definitely tough. I know he had some of his fights at 170 before, moved up to 185. Yeah, again, kind of just a straightforward. It's not necessarily a steamrolling, but definitely a one-sided fight, kind of everywhere. We're going to kind of move on to the fight at light heavyweight, which was a little weird between Magomed Ankalaev and Johnny Walker. I was super excited for this one. I think Ankalaev's super talented, and Johnny Walker is crazy in his fighting style and just otherwise. But yeah, this was a weird one because also too, earlier in the night, there had been a bout with Victor Henry and oh my gosh. It was Victor Henry and the guy that kicked him in the nuts, Javid Basharat. I was super excited for that one on the prelims. Both of those guys are incredibly talented and fun to watch. He took a nut shot, and the doctor basically came up to him and was just like, yeah, you're fine. It hit you in the leg. And I've never seen somebody grab their nuts after they got hit and just faceplant like they got KO'd. That was wild. So clearly he was in a lot of pain, and the doctor just came in and was like, oh yeah, you're fine. Like it was just your leg. But then for this fight, he all of a sudden got super concerned about everyone's safety. Kind of interesting. Yeah, basically Johnny Walker got hit with an illegal knee. There was something else I saw, I believe it was the Muhammad Mokaev fight, where they were just kind of playing that game a little bit where you're touching the mat with your hands and then you're not, and then they're touching the mat. Like, that's just a super dangerous and kind of silly game to play when the other person's looking to knee you in the head. But just a weird night overall for fouls. Johnny Walker, it seemed like, was fine. Didn't really understand the doctor's questions because he asked him if he knew where he was, and he said yes, the desert. And so the doctor waved the fight off. That was a little weird. So that one ended in a no contest, unfortunately. Hopefully they'll run that one back though. Super excited for that one. But the co-main event, Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat Chimaev. Great fight, great performance from both guys, really. Khamzat's definitely a problem, but in this fight, I really felt like, I don't know, he was going to really be tested. Gilbert Burns definitely tested him as well. And I actually thought Usman, there's a good case for him to win rounds 2 and 3, just off the damage of his strikes, not the grappling. He definitely got out grappled, which was kind of surprising, but also not at the same time. But Usman definitely had the advantage on the feet, even though I know Khamzat also broke his hand. I would have loved to have seen that fight for 5 rounds though. It was just an awesome fight all the way around from both guys. But now let's get into the main event. So, Islam versus Alexander Volkanovski. This one, Volkanovski is one of my personal favorites to watch, period. Favorite guys in the sport. So it was really hard for me to watch this fight. It just put me in a bad mood the rest of the day. I was just bummed out because he is such a great guy, great fighter, incredible to watch. I was a little worried about him taking this fight on this short of a notice, but that's also what makes Alex so great, is just how much of a gangster he is, and taking a fight against one of the best guys in the world, and just got caught. Like, Islam had a great game plan, looked really good, very composed, and Volk just had an off night, had an unfortunate head kick. It was kind of, like I said, rough seeing him get finished like that, but definitely a bummer for him. But I'm also really excited for him to take some time, reset, and just keep building his legacy at featherweight. That is pretty much the main card. There's one bout though that I wanted to highlight from the early prelims. And this fight was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. And that was Mike Breeden versus Anshul Jubilee. And if you have not seen that fight, do yourself a favor, go on ESPN or wherever you can find it and watch this fight. The first 2 rounds, Mike Breeden is getting really touched up on the feet. Jubilee is very, very slick, undefeated, making his UFC debut. Jubilee is dominantly winning the first 2 rounds. Drops Breeden, is piecing him up, opens a cut, and a piece of Breeden's eyebrow is just hanging like kind of over his eye. And then the 3rd round, Breeden just decides to wake up the dog in him, walks Jubilee down, is barking at him, chanting USA, and then ends up getting the finish in the 3rd round when he was down clearly by 2. Just one of the craziest performances I've ever seen. So do yourself a favor, go watch that fight. You won't regret it. And that was it. UFC 294. Let me know what you guys think, and stay tuned. We've got another video coming this Friday. So we'll see you guys then.